Howdy, my name is Kuchisake, and welcome back to Let's Read About Cryptids. This is going to probably be I'm aiming for this to be the last episode for now, because I'm trying to use up all the rest of the cryptids I have. It depends on how long these cryptids are, because I have like 6 more, and it really just comes down to how much information there is. I recognize that there may not be very many of you who watch my stuff that care about this, but this is the episode where Siren Head comes up, and seeing as me wondering where the hell he came from is the whole reason this started anyway, I can't just not read it just because it feels like he's getting a bit up there, and it feels significantly more played out to talk about Siren Head now than it did when I started, and it already felt pretty bad when I started. But for now, we're on the Kuchisake Onno, which is a Japanese ghost-type lady person. Should I watch the Wikipedia thing? Or read the Wikipedia thing? There is a History Channel thing about it. Let's start off by watching that. See what we get from this. Expand.
When we see Pleiadian ships, we see a sphere of light.
What?
Because it's the Merkaba movie.
Calm down, dude.
Kuchisake Onno is a vengeful ghost that haunts Japan and goes after children in particular. She'll ask them a question, and if you get the answer right, then you're safe. The trouble is, there is no right answer.
In the late 1970s and early 1980s, stories start appearing of children who are on their way home from school, and they're stopped by a woman who's wearing a surgical mask. And in America, that would tell us something is wrong. But in Japan, that's not uncommon at all. If you catch a cold, as a courtesy to everybody else, you wear a mask until your cold is gone. So that in itself is no cause for alarm.
But in the case of Kuchisake Onno, it should be.
Her eyes, her nose, her hair, her stature all look attractive, and she will ask you the question, am I pretty?
私レイ全然
If you say no, she's carrying a pair of scissors, and with these scissors, she will kill you. If you say yes, she will remove the surgical mask to reveal that somewhere along the line, somebody has slit her mouth clear up to the ears. If you try to escape, you're still out of luck, because no matter which way you turn, she will appear in front of you again and repeat the challenge.
Since the Middle Ages, he's been depicted as, this red beast with horns and pitchfork. And
Okay, well, I guess the History Channel is just gonna not give us the rest of the story. So let's see what else we got here. We got a couple of yokai websites. Nippon will probably give us the information in a not weird way. Okay, so Japanese urban legends from the slit-mouth woman to Kisaragi Station. Oh, there's more than one thing. A woman wearing a face mask asks a passing child, "Am I pretty?" If the frightened youngster says she is, she asks, "Even like this?" and removes her mask to reveal a face slit from the corners of her mouth to each ear. No matter their age, almost everyone in Japan has heard the story of the Kuchisake Onno, or slit-mouth woman, and it has become increasingly well known around the world. The Kuchisake Onno must be the first purely Japanese urban legend, says... Is that a I? Ikura Yoshiyuki? A Kokugakuen University associate professor who researches oral literature. But how do such stories emerge and develop? Oh, okay. It looks like it's just a story about urban legends in general in Japan. Okay, sure. They offer one theory of origins for this particular legend. Around the end of 1978, a rumor circulated that an old woman in a farming family in the town of Yoatsu in Gifu Prefecture spotted a woman with the now notorious slit mouth standing in the corner of the garden. The local newspaper printed an article about the story, and the legend spread and grew through repetition among the children of the area. There were all these different variations, like they might say she wore a mask or a red coat, or that she carried a sickle. Or they'd say that she could run 100 meters in 6 seconds, that she hated hair pomade? Or If you gave her a Bekoame hard candy, then you could get away. 6 months later, the rumors had spread nationwide. This was a time when the number of children going to cram schools was increasing. Before, it was rare for rumors to cross over to another school district, but cram schools brought children from different areas together, and they took the stories they heard about other schools to share them as their own. As they passed them on further to relatives and other contacts by telephone and so on, other newspapers and television stations picked up the story. As well as being a scary tale, for children, the Kuchisake Onno represented the kind of characters they might encounter. Cram school started in the evening, and when they ended, children came out in groups onto the night streets. They saw adults they had never seen before, like women going out to their nightlife entertainment jobs or drunks on their way home from the bars. As Ikura notes, this boosted anxiety among the young students about the possible presence of people who could hurt them, and anxiety projected in the Kuchisake Onno. At first, teachers and parents were also worried, conducting patrols and arranging for children to return home in groups. The rumors died down around the start of the summer holidays in 1979, but the powerful image of the slit-mouthed woman lingered in everyone's memories, establishing itself as another monstrous figure. Woo! The haunted house attraction, Kyofu no Hosamichi, the Narrow Road of Terror, based around Kuchisake Onno in the Yanagase shopping district in Gifu Prefecture, had 5 seasonal runs from 2012 to 2019. When the Kuchisake Onno legend spread in the late 70s, the Japanese economy was changing as households across the country acquired the basic elements of urban cultural life: television, cars, and telephones. The term urban legend came to Japan via a 1988 translation of American folklorist Jan Harold Brunvan's 1981 book, The Vanishing Hitchhiker. The up-and-coming Japanese researchers who conducted the translation are said to have wanted to overturn the idea in the academic world that oral literature meant only old tales and legends, and to open up the possibility of investigating the gossip and rumors of the contemporary city. Brunvan defined the urban legend as a bizarre but believable tale in an urban setting that is said to have happened to a friend of a friend. A hitchhiker turns out to be a ghost, for example, or an escaped killer is hiding under the bed. Please don't. I'm sitting on my bed, and I don't want that to happen. The motif of a phantom passenger dates back to the era of 19th century hackney coaches, but adapted itself to the age of the automobile, spurred on by the growth of mass media. People related these stories as things they had heard from local newspaper and radio accounts. The tales took on local colors and details, traveling across the whole of the United States. In late 1980s Japan, there was great interest in word of mouth among young people. It became a big topic how junior high and high school students could drive major demand, whether through the lines at ice cream shops like Hobson's and Baskin Robbins, or the trend for Boston bags. If these students in the Tokyo area said something was cool, the news spread like wildfire. High school and university students had more to spend as they could get part-time jobs in newly built family restaurants and convenience stores, and with the bubble economy around the corner, even younger children had more purchasing power. Marketing departments made strong efforts to analyze what these young people were saying. One typical success came for Latte with its Koala's March cookies. A rumor among high school girls went that finding a koala with eyebrows meant it would be a lucky day, so Latte tried various strategies such as increasing the number of different koala designs. By doing so, it made Koala's March a long-standing favorite, and the product marked its 35th anniversary in 2019. That's why that exists? That was one of my favorite snacks as a kid, and Five Below sells them, so that's cool. Five Below sells them and FYE sells them. They're really good. I totally recommend them if you're prepared to drop like $5 on a little green box of koala cookies. Other widespread stories included the idea that touching the fundoshi, or loincloth, of the traditional messenger character depicted at the time on Sagawa delivery trucks brought happiness, and that a couple who rode in a boat together on Ueno Park's Shinobazu Pond would be sure to split up. Magazines assembled these kinds of stories into features on urban legends. Meanwhile, the writers for these outlets worked to grow an interest in the tale, such as when the magazine Pop Teen introduced the human-faced dog. This creature had the face of a middle-aged man and could speak and chase after cars at speeds of over 100 kilometers per hour. Yeah. The boom did not last, however, Ikura explains. Ikura? These urban legends were at their peak popularity in the early 1990s before cooling off in 95. That year's earthquake in Kobe and sarin attacks on the Tokyo subway meant it was no longer the right atmosphere for talking about legendary monsters. The media stopped carrying stories about such supernatural occurrences. The occult online. Into the 21st century, urban legends resurfaced as an internet-led phenomenon. In the first wave, television, magazines, and other media collected and highlighted rumors that began among children. In the 2000s, the rise of the blog sparked the heyday of the text-based website. Blogs that brought together urban legends drew in readers, and as their popularity led to the publication of books on the subject, they drove online and physical publishing of still more similar material, like I'm reading right now. People who were students at the time the legends emerged took a nostalgic pleasure in reading them, while those who grew up later became curious to learn about them. Like me! So, yes, accept the cookies, go away. Magazines and television stations also took material found on the 2-channel discussion board. Oh, is that what 2chan means? It's just 2-channel? Really? Huh. To popularize new urban legends. Some examples that have entered the broad popular consciousness include the ominous white kune-kune, seen by elementary school students in paddy fields that cause insanity if approached too closely, the cursed Katori Bako box to be filled with blood and body parts and given to the target of its magic, and the Hashaku-sama, a monstrous woman of more than 2 meters tall. Most of these horror tales that appeared first on the internet were they developed into forms that were too long to be passed on orally. From around 2010, there have been legends created by interaction via social media. The creepy story of Kisaragi Station, it might be Kisaragi Station, has developed over more than 10 years, during which time it made the leap from 2channel to Twitter. It began in 2004 with a 2channel poster who wrote, "I got on the train at Hamamatsu Station. Even though it's the train I always use to go to work, I arrived at an unstaffed station I've never heard of. What should I do?" The story has grown from this initial post in the form of an inquiry and the answers it attracted, and an elaborate story of a sinister location existing outside of the map. Kawabana.net Kisaragi Station. I'm interested, but that's not what we're doing right now. But I am very interested. Once they get to a certain length, somebody puts these kinds of stories together on aggregator sites, and then they get shared again. Because they're written in the form of a pseudo-realistic tale from an actual narrator, it seems like you're really there hearing a conversation. You can jump in and help build them. That's the distinctive feature of the second wave of urban legends in the internet age. And there are a lot of horror stories. I think people have a playful element of make-believe in mind as they contribute to creating scary tales or making references to mysterious happenings around the world. Compared with word of mouth, urban legends conveyed digitally tend to go to one of the two extremes, either staying completely the same or radically changing during the process. When you pass on a story orally, you're always going by memory, so even if there are small changes, the main details stay the same. Online, you can copy and paste or transform it completely if you want. It happens instantly, and physical distance is not an issue, so the speed at which stories cross international borders has also increased. From around 2000, the legend of the Kuchisake Onno traveled overseas via the internet. It has gained new characteristics, such as the woman having a red mask when the story is told in South Korea. A folklore tradition in places like Okinawa, Taiwan, South Korea, and China says that evil spirits can only travel in a straight line, so the South Korean Kuchisake Onno can't turn corners or climb stairs. There's a story where she has a slit-mouthed skinhead boyfriend who also wears a mask. When urban legends travel to cities in other countries, they can change to better fit into the local culture, diminishing interaction. In the second wave of urban legends, some entertainers have made the topic their specialty. Seke Akio, who rose from fame in 2006, is a classic example. He got his break introducing urban legends on variety shows, and is known for his catchphrase, "Whether you believe it or not, it's up to you." And YouTube videos investigating urban legends are also winning fans. For example, there's a story about traveling to a different world by elevator. If you get on an elevator alone in a building with 10 or more floors and press the button in a particular order, it's said to take you to another dimension. And they actually tested in the video. Where urban legends were once shared as if they really happened to that friend of a friend, they now spread more quickly and widely like the latest hit game. Yet, Ikura says that the kind of legends that once appeared in front of many eyes are now diminishing in number. The reason for this is that people are increasingly holing up in their own corner of the internet. There's a noticeable trend for users of one site to move towards the same way of thinking and not to interact with those holding other opinions. Rather than discussing whether something is true or not, more people believe what they want to believe and reject what they don't like as lies. There is not the same recognition of the fun to be found in the ambiguity between truth and fiction. Ikura bemoans the current popularity of political methods that project unease on real targets. It might be aimed at illegal immigrants, China, South Korea, or Japan. The unease we project on the Kuchisake Onno or Ghost, on the other hand, is based on the idea that real people wouldn't do these things. I feel that on a global scale, we're gradually losing the ground where urban legends can arise. There's a growing sense of helplessness, and amid a vague sense of unease, perhaps there's a desire to cling to what is real. It seems quite ironic that more people are relying on the kind of false information and fake news that researchers would call urban legends. Huh. Interesting. I think that's probably good enough for the Kuchisake Onno. We got the whole backstory of urban legends of Japan in general, in addition to the Kuchisake Onno. So let's move on to Siren Head. All I know about Siren Head so far is that Trevor Henderson made him. It looks like there's a whole Trevor Henderson wiki. Wikis tend to load really badly on everything, so we'll see how this goes. The Trevor Henderson Inspiration Wiki. Collection of creepy art. Thank you, Jackbox. Siren Head is not real. He's a creature made by Canadian illustrator Trevor Henderson. Did people think he was real? Okay, well, here's the thing Trevor Henderson wrote about it. She was on vacation with her husband and they were scoping out graveyards on the way, as you do, when she saw it, rising out of the old cemetery, big as an old macabre telephone pole. Was this some kind of bizarre art piece the authorities hadn't gotten wise to yet? Even as she stepped out of the car, the megaphones on its head screeched to life. 9, 18, 1, child. 17, remove, file. A buzzing, doubled voice screamed random words at her. At this point, it jerked into motion, striding down the hill towards her. I've seen a lot of people, like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye both, have been playing a lot of Siren Head games, and none of them ever really seem to have him just say random shit. He says actual things. He either just does that one Borked Tornado siren, or actually says things. But he never says random sequences of words. But I'll get back to that, because I have thoughts about Siren Head. Hey Golem, how you doing? I have thoughts about Siren Head, and I'll get back to him. Siren Head is a 40-foot tall humanoid creature with a heavily emaciated, near-skeletal frame covered in dried, mummified flesh, with a color similar to rusted metal. I would never have thought that was supposed to be flesh. I don't know what I thought it was, but I didn't process it as being flesh. Its limbs are disproportionately long and thin, with arms almost as long as its entire body that end in huge bony hands. Where a human's head and neck would be is a thin pole of flesh with 2 sirens attached to them, facing in opposite directions, hence its name. And several black wires snaking around its neck and into its upper shoulders, pressed against its abdomen. Really? Huh, I never noticed that. The speakers are fused to the neck by tendrils of skin and capable of swiveling around, much like the head of an owl. Oh god, that, None of the games have done that yet either. Can you imagine though, like, if you're walking through somewhere where Siren Head would be chillin', and the only indication you get that he's out there isn't the weird siren noises, but the glint of your flashlight off his teeth as his head swivels. Ooh. Let's see. Some images depict Siren Head's speakers with toothy, lipless, human-like jaws and a long, retractable, thin, snake-like tongue. I haven't seen any with a tongue. Ugh. Though Henderson has said that the teeth are only visible on a certain radio frequency and as part of memes. Huh? Wait. A radio frequency is how you see the teeth? Does that mean the teeth aren't real? Are the teeth static? Because if the teeth are radio frequency static, that's even worse. Because then if Siren Head eats you, if he does indeed eat people, what is he actually doing if his teeth aren't real? Also, Siren Head is not an SCP. People think it's SCP-6980. There's 6,000 of them now? I thought, oh my god. I thought there were 5,000 now. When did 6,000 happen? Anyway, hunting tactics. Siren Head hunts by silently standing in heavily forested areas, making sounds like nuclear war announcements, Amber Alerts, or mimicking voices of people close to its victim, bringing people towards it to grab them off the ground and kill them violently. It is currently not known for sure what Siren Head does to its victims when caught. Theories include eating them, adding them to the roster of voices used by it, or simply just killing them and scattering their blood all over the place. Then we'll rip them apart and wreck out the place! It has brown mummified skin matching the pattern of rusty metal or tree bark, which it uses for camouflage. Because when I'm walking around in the forest, I totally expect the trees to look like rusted metal. I don't wander around in the forest, not since college. I don't recommend it. I'm not white enough for that. Siren Head is also very fast while on 2 feet. Its assumed maximum speed is around 24.3 miles per hour. So if you just hop in a car and gun it for 30, nope, actually on all fours its speed is assumed to be a maximum of 146.2 miles per hour, making it much faster than the average car. Some people believe Siren Head to use echolocation like bats do to get around in the dark. As seen, Siren Head has no eyes. So what if you're in your car, right, and you're driving at the speed you think is safe for Siren Head to not get you, and then he starts running on all fours at you doing 146 miles per hour, and then you slam on the brakes. No more Siren Head. I mean, there'll still be Siren Head, but his siren will be all messed up like when a Looney Tunes character slams into a fake tunnel. Yeah. There's also audio samples. This one was recorded. Oh, is this just the weird yes, the tornado siren. And there's also something from Austria? Okay, first let's check out the tornado siren. Well, now I know how all the games are getting easy access to that soundbite. And now the other one. Okay, that one is significantly more uncomfortable than the first one. Oh, yeah, you can just download it. But the first one, it's like, oh yeah, that's that tornado siren. I'm sure that, like, plenty of us have seen the tornado siren video. But that one, the second one, that's, at first it sounded like you're getting a phone alarm, and then it just starts being something else entirely. Ooh. Oh no. Let's see. Some Trevor Henderson images. Patron saint image of Siren Head. Siren Head on top of a hilltop graveyard. I'm gonna have to... A hill in a graveyard. Siren Head standing next to a lamppost. Lamp! Siren Head blending in with a tree. Who would think that's a tree? What kind of unfortunate level of darkness do you need to be in to see that and think, oh yeah, that's a tree? A picture of Siren Head with the camera aiming up from its legs. That person's dead. A drawing of Siren Head. Look at them teeth that are apparently not actually there. Graffiti art of Siren Head. A cave drawing of Siren Head attacking humans, which shows that Siren Head has been on Earth for a long time. Siren Head standing next to a wind turbine. What if the wind turbine just like clips one of his... Okay. A supposedly subspecies of Siren Head with 5 sirens standing over houses. Ugh. Siren Head's Polaroid. Siren Head standing across a road waiting for a victim. You're not a chicken, dude. You can probably just stride the whole thing. Stalking the cameraman. That cameraman's dead. Blending in with the power lines. Once again, who would see that and think it's a power line? Honestly. Blending in with the trees. Okay, that time I didn't immediately see him. That time he did actually blend in. Siren Head approaching its victim in a neighborhood. I think I've actually seen, I think it was Jacksepticeye played a game that was based off of this picture right here. Approaching the victim. A picture of Siren Head sirens with one of them facing the camera. Like, this is a really detailed picture of teeth for you to have said that the teeth aren't real. Well, they are real, but only at a certain radio frequency. That's not... I feel like that's not how radio frequencies work. I don't know much about radio frequencies, but I'm pretty sure radio frequencies don't dictate whether or not a giant siren monster has teeth. Multiple Siren Head subspecies. Okay, well, it's got enough variants to be fought in Monster Hunter then. What's this last one? A fact sheet. Okay, what's the facts? Lay it on me, dude. Around 40 feet tall, the size of a telephone pole. Skin looks like rusty metal, but it's actually dried and mummified skin. Did the skin belong to Siren Head, or... Oh... Its arms are as long as the length of its body. Big reach, like a gibbon. It's a gibbon! Has been seen with different head arrangements, though it's unclear whether those are a subspecies or if it's able to change its head to better hide when hunting. It's a highly skilled predator using deception and subterfuge to confuse and disorient prey. It is unclear if or how it gains nourishment from things it kills. Apparently it doesn't gain any. Look at those ribs! Why would you think that this thing gains nourishment from anything? If it's covered in skin, but you can still see through the bones, this thing is not nourished at all. So, speakers constantly pump out strange music, odd snippets of conversation, and angrily shout at words and numbers. While it's asleep, it plays white noise. Speakers are the only actual metal on its body fused with its dried skin. Abdomen and chest show wires pressed against the skin. They writhe when it's agitated. Will remain motionless while hunting, sometimes for days at a time. Most frequently seen in rural town areas and in heavy wooded areas, and the head will rotate on its neck as it broadcasts like an owl looking for prey. Artist's conception of feeding method. Yeah, that's weird. Let's see. Siren Head in a video game with the same name. Drawing a Siren Head in a forest at sunset. Siren Head doing the grabbies. Dave Romero's video blaring the sirens. Walking through the forest, Shia LaBeouf. Concept of Siren Head with its son. Ugh. Wandering in the forest with blue-colored fog. Siren Head in Fallout 4. Why? Oh God, why? I just got that game this afternoon. Why would you do that? Ah! This one doesn't even say anything. What are these? Fan-made images by people on the wiki. A couple of these are adorable. That one is... I mean, this one is menacing, but also funny because he's mid-stride. So it's like he's on his way to the store or something. Like, oh man, I forgot to get some toilet paper before I slaughter the humans. And then just gets like sticks his head in through the revolving door. Excuse me! I need some Scott. You got a 24-pack? Thanks. Here's the money! And then everyone's ears are bleeding, but he paid his good money from somebody's wallet. Anyway, that's probably good for Siren Head. I don't think we're going to get much better information than that just was. I mean, Trevor Henderson, everybody. Oh, the Ozark Howler. I have never heard of this at all, ever. Or the Dover Demon, or the Nightcrawlers, or the Loveland Frogman, which is what we've got left. But these are what my friend provided me with, and as I suspected, the video's running over long, and I might have to save the Dover Demon and the Nightcrawlers and the Loveland Frogman for another episode. Eventually. But first we're going to do the Ozark Howler. There's a Cryptids fandom wiki, actual Wikipedia, news-leader.com. Someone's asking, somebody called Johnson, do you believe in the Ozark Howler? And there's also exploresouthernhistory.com. Let's use that one. Ooh man, that's a lot of thingies. The cat monster of the mountains in Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. And I still don't... If anybody in charge of Arkansas ever gets the chance, y'all should change that to Arkansas, because we're not calling it Kansas, so you shouldn't call it Arkansas. I'm just saying. So the Ozark Howler is the name residents and hunters have applied to a strange creature some say roams the remote forests of the Ozark Mountains. The reports originate from a vast area that includes parts of Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. I haven't looked at a map in a while, but it doesn't... I don't process those 3 states as being anywhere near each other, and I don't really want to pull up a map because then I'm just going to sound stupid. But I don't look at a map very often. Missouri just sounds like something that should be further south than Oklahoma is. Some attribute the sightings to the presence of an escaped big cat in the mountains. Escaped from what? Don't big cats already live in the mountains? But others say something more is behind them. Eyewitnesses have come forward claiming to have seen a mysterious cat-like monster in the Ozarks. A creature unlike anything they had ever seen before. I know, man, how many of y'all have seen a mountain lion up close? I feel like you'd feel like it's a monster. The mysteries of the Ozarks are part of their charm. Folk tales of ghosts, monsters, and strange creatures in the region date back hundreds of years. Unlike the well-known Arkansas wild man of the 19th century and the Boggy Creek and White River monsters of the 20th... What? The well-known... Okay, no. We're talking about the Ozark, the Howler, the Howler. Not this other shit, whatever this is. Y'all need to get out of Arkansas. It's probably haunted because it's called Arkansas. The Ozark Howler mystery is complicated because eyewitnesses vary widely in their descriptions of what they've seen. Kind of like Bigfoot. How is this article working? Are these different articles? What is this? Anyway, some who claim to have seen the creature describe it as a gigantic cat, bigger even than a cougar. Tigers are bigger than cougars, aren't they? Others describe something far more monstrous, a massive cat-like beast with glowing eyes and horns protruding from its head. Most agree that it is black or dark in color. What was the picture of it? It's not here. Between 2005 and 2010, the Howler, also called the Black Howler or the Devil Cat, was spotted several times. A family living north of Van Buren in the Boston Mountains of Crawford County set out trail cams after spotting what they believed was a cougar. What? The Boston Mountains. Okay. I'm gonna have to assume that Arkansas has some mountains called the Boston Mountains, because the alternative is I am almost positive that Boston is nowhere near Oklahoma. Almost positive. But, the images they supplied to a Fort Smith television station appeared to show a big cat similar to a cougar mountain lion. The problem is that wildlife officials maintain there is not a breeding population of cougars left in Arkansas. They do concede that it is possible there might be individual big cats living in the mountains, pointing out they were once held as pets but escaped or were turned loose by their owners. At roughly the same time as the Crawford County sightings, similar reports originated from across the border in eastern Oklahoma. Those sightings revolved around large dark cats seen moving through the mountains. Other reports from near Dardanelle and the Arkansas River Valley described strange sounds in the night similar to the laugh of or bark of a hyena. From higher elevations, witnesses reported seeing what they described as a large, stocky cat. It could very well have been Hugh Jackman. Adding further confusion to all this is the fact that some researchers believe the whole Arkansas Howler legend is a hoax created by an individual intent on exposing what he considered the outlandishness of the Chupacabra reports that began making their rounds on the internet in the late 1990s. Researcher Lauren Coleman and others were able to conclusively point out that someone using multiple aliases had spread a variety of outlandish stories about the Howler on websites and blogs. So, y'all got the Arkansas Wildman of the 19th century, the Boggy Creek Monster, and the White River Monster, but y'all think that the Ozark Howler is fake, made up by somebody who doesn't like the Chupacabra. The Arkansas Wildman is a Bigfoot. Huh. And there's the White River Monster and the ghosts. Now what's all this here? The domain. So, is the Ozark Howler a hoax? The answer to that question is a definite combination of yes and no. Some people have undoubtedly been involved in spreading false stories on a large scale. On the other hand, Others have told stories of big cats in the Ozarks for many, many years. The most reliable accounts, like those of the sightings in Crawford County between 2005 and 10, revolve more around cougars than they do monsters. The trail cam images taken of the creature in Crawford County definitely appeared to show a cougar. Evidence from Newton County, Arkansas, where the howler was spotted in 2011, seemed to verify the possibility of a big cat, or 2, or 3, or 4, roaming the Ozarks. The Sci-Fi Channel show Haunted Highway focused on the Ozark Howler in July 2012. Investigating the location of the Newton County sightings, program investigators took thermal images of an animal they thought might be the howler and also made plaster casts of paw prints found where the animal had taken meat from the show the show producers had left out, hoping to attract the howler. Thermal energy turned out to be a raccoon or a possum, but a wildlife biologist consulted by the show intriguingly identified the paw prints as possibly being from a puma or cougar. They were too big to have been left by bobcats, which are well-known residents of the mountains. The question still remains, is the Ozark Howler a monster, a hoax, or a real cat of some type? The evidence seems to point towards the latter answer. While a big cat living in the Ozarks may not be as flashy as a monster with glowing eyes and horns growing out of its head, the possible presence of such animals in the mountains is equally intriguing. Okay, so what we've learned about the Ozark Howler is it's probably a cougar, and there's some weird shit happening in Arkansas. But I'm going to end this episode here because it's already over half an hour. So, this has been Anachi Sasuke. This was Let's Read About Cryptids, Episode 3. If you liked it, a like and subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you need to do either one of those things. If you want to click the bell, you can do that as well, so you'll be notified when I upload more things and finally finish reading about these cryptids. Unless somebody wants to throw more cryptids at me, because I ain't heard of nothing. Nothing. I know nothing, Jon Snow. So, thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.